So now this part of the session, we're going to open it up for Q&A. So any questions? And I think the first question is here.
Yes. Well, you were saying what is stopping you? Well, often I think because technology is, like we don't know, right? It almost feels like ominous when you start thinking about somebody spying on me. All of a sudden, like all the things that I did as a teenager, is it going to come back and haunt me? Like most of our jobs as a teacher is to or capstone instructors are to convince them that that is your past.
Sure.
And now it's like a new moment in your life, and you're recreating yourself.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of that is fearful of I was never good at technology. That would be the first one.
Right.
So how do I go on? But your quote was quite good in the sense that saying you don't have to be an expert, right?
Yes.
At this point of our lives, we can always move from it.
That's right. So we want to make sure we get started and always think about, here's my current state. Here's what's not working well. Here's what is working well. And here's some experience that I can try in order to make sure that I'm accelerating my pace the next time around. Great question. Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, you said that they check your social media. There's a lot of catfishing going around. People stone your profile and using it as they were they were you.
Yes.
What if they check the catfishing profile but not your real profile? What if that catfishing is posting
Sure.
something that shouldn't be posted and they think it's you?
Sure.
How'd you go from there?
Absolutely. So if you ever catfish, you can always show them your real profile. So if that ever comes up, don't worry about it, because that happens all the time and they are aware of that. So you want to make sure that you show them your real profile. Yep. Any other questions? Yes.
Do you think there'll ever be a surplus of people in technology? You won't be able to get jobs because there's so many people.
That's a good question. I would say because technology continues to evolve, there's going to be a market for technology in every aspect. Like right now, the contract that I'm on now, it's called space management. And I was thinking, so when they told me that I was going to get the job working with the Space Department, I started thinking NASA, things like that, right? But Space Department is basically a department that assigns space for you to sit in. Yeah. So we're actually using technology in order to assign that space. And here, I'll give you an example. There's an MGM Grand Studio, casino and hotel out on the outside of DC. Brand new from the ground up. The parking garage is really, really huge. Inside of that parking garage, instead of me as a customer driving around until I find a space, guess what? They have a digital screen that's dropped down from the ceiling. When you pull up to the screen, it will tell you to the right on this row, there are 11 parking spaces available. On the left-hand side, there are 5 parking spaces available. So that's one way that technology has been incorporated to assign the space for parking garages. Yep. Any other question? Yes.
How do you get a job if you can't really get a job because they require a lot of experience and they'll typically go with someone who has more experience?
Yes.
How do you get that experience?
So when I talked about the 3 scenarios or options that you can take where you can actually be a freelancer, you can create your own tech startup or your own app, and then the other one is to join a boot camp. There are a lot of people that are joining boot camps and getting jobs like that because of the real world experience that you gain from a boot camp. So that was one of the main reasons that I came up with this idea to do this book and also to create the content for this, because I've been in so many situations, even for myself when I first started out. When I go and interview, I would never hear anything back, and I always wanted to know what happened. And so when I had an opportunity to reach out to a recruiter or the hiring manager, their feedback to me was that, guess what? You didn't have enough experience. We went with someone that had more experience. So the 3 options that I gave you, now you're able to create those opportunities for yourself. And yes, they will accept you if you can showcase the real working work that you did. So like if you're a web developer and you created it for your own company, you can showcase that to the customer. You can showcase that to a recruiter or a hiring manager, and they will love it. They will wow it. Absolutely. Yes.
So you talked a little bit in the presentation about your journey into where you're currently at professionally, and I think a lot of the kids have a little bit of anxiety about not knowing 100% what they want to do when they grow up, so to speak, and
Sure.
their ultimate destination. Would you mind kind of talking a little bit about just how it is that you navigated going from one, maybe starting position and educational role to another over time?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. So I started out working a lot of dead-end jobs. So I did a lot of collections and customer service. And from there, that's when I said, enough is enough. I don't want to do this anymore. So I got a phone call from a recruiter one day, and the lady said, hey, are you available for work? I have a customer service job. And I was like, no, I said, at this point in my life, I want to stay away from customer service jobs. And so what she said to me, she said, the title says customer service, but when I read the description was more for an IT help desk analyst. So what an IT help desk analyst is, you'll be on the other end, someone may call you and basically say, hey, my cell phone isn't working. Or an internal customer or employee at the company may say, hey, I'm trying to get in my laptop and I'm a new employee and I need to have my password reset. So those are some of the things you could possibly work on as a IT help desk analyst. So I started out as a PC technician. Then I also moved into IT help desk analyst. Then I moved into technical writing. Then I moved into QA testing. So QA testing is more software testing. So once the developers actually start finishing their code, they'll hand it over to the testers. You can actually manually test it, or you can test it automatically. So there's automation testing as well. And then after that, I moved into business analyst. So business analysts, they actually share some of the roles and responsibilities as a project manager, where you're planning and tracking projects. And then I went from project managing all the way to what we call Scrum Master. So in a new world of thinking and a new world of innovation, Scrum Master basically is someone that's facilitating all of these various roles around making sure that the developers and testers are doing exactly what they need to do, showing them the techniques and tips on how to make sure that we're providing and adding value to our customer a lot faster, getting things into the hands of our customer a lot faster. So when we're talking about my current role as a senior agile coach, so my role is to train that Scrum Master and also work with leaders in the organization to make sure that we're embracing the new way of doing things. Any other questions? Yes?
Do you think technology will evolve to the point where, like, I'm an animator and nowadays everyone's focusing on streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think technology will evolve to a point where we don't need television anymore and we just rely the internet to get our own entertainment?
Right. That's a great question. I would say everything right now is still going to be relevant. Just like I thought the CDs were going to be out of here. I didn't think CDs were still going to be around. I was thinking that all of the downloads that we do today were going to take over CDs, but CDs are still effective here today. As far as streaming, I look at some of the streaming companies and I also look at some of the companies like YouTube. I would say, if anything, that the TV model, the cable model, will possibly go away, but YouTube is possibly the future. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watch YouTube more than I do on TV. I'm sure about you guys. Yeah. Yep. Great question. Any other questions? Yes?
Did you need any kind of qualifications or certain things? I'm not sure what the right word is.
Sure. So you're asking about certifications?
Yeah, certifications for getting an IT job.
Yes. So what I would say, if you follow those three options that I gave you, that will carry more weight than you achieving some certification. Yeah, because every company wants someone that can hit the ground running. There are companies that will take in interns, but if you're desperate and you really need something right now, if you can start being innovative and creative and start creating those three options for yourself so that you can actually apply it to your resume and talk to it during an interview, that will sell yourself more than anything else. Any other questions?
Those three options were just to...
Yes. So those three options were: go to an online boot camp, attend one, And you can actually go to those companies that I listed, and then you can scroll through and find something that's interested to you. The other option is create your own app or your tech startup. And then the last one was become a freelancer, where you can actually showcase your work. And you can show your stars and your reviews. And I would use my family and friends. Like if I'm a web designer, everyone wants to create a website. So why don't you create a website for your family and friends? Do it for free. Do it for free, because all you're trying to do is to build up your review base. That's all you're looking for. Once a customer comes to one of those different online sources, they're going to look for you. And when they see 5 stars everywhere, then they're going to start accepting your offer and join your service and pay for your service. Yep. Any other questions?
No, it's all good advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. So the main thing for me was that when you lack the experience in the field that you want to go after, here are some things that you can do so that you can start working for yourself, so that when you apply for these different companies, now you have some real world experience.
It's definitely about being self-motivated.
Yes.
Like you can't. It's just like the metaphor of like the YouTube, right? Like it used to be that you just turn on the TV and then it tells you, right? You have like 5 different, or at least when I was young, there was 10, 12 different ideas that you can watch, right? Then it went to cable where there was like 100. Now there's millions.
Yes.
Right? Essentially, because you could either choose to spend your time watching videos and getting a degree online, or,
Yes.
or taking the courses for free and not getting the degree, but having the same amount of information, which we would hope that that's the main concern, is
Sure.
that to be educated. And that it's not about it's not about being just entertained, right? Everything you choose to do is another stepping stone of your education and where you will be in the future.
Right. Yep. So I have one quote I'd like to leave you guys with, if you don't have anything else, is that if you ever get in a place or get in a situation where things are not working out, if it doesn't work out the first time around, guess what? The alphabet has 25 more letters. So if plan A doesn't work out, the alphabet has 25 more letters. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.